We're really sorry. We're really, really sorry.
It's been a while.
A long time.
Yeah.
We've been busy, okay? I don't know anyone that's not busy over the holidays.
Yeah.
If you're not busy over the holidays, you're either, just not religious.
Yeah.
We're definitely religious.
Broke.
We're religious and broke.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's been wild.
Busy.
It's been a wild month.
Alex just got a 6-week-old puppy.
Yeah, he's 9 now, and...
Oh, really? He's 9 weeks already?
Well, tomorrow he'll be 9 weeks, yeah.
Oh.
I know. He's still the size of, like, a golf ball, but...
That's why she sounds so tired.
Yeah, he's like 2 rooms away, but I'm, like, trying to talk normal, but I know I'm, like, talking quietly.
That's okay. It'll be an NPR.
Oh, gosh.
Inspired episode.
Yeah, so
the December book of the month was Lovely Bones, The Lovely Bones.
The Lovely Bones
by Alice Sebold.
Yes.
Sebold.
Yeah.
So just general, what were your thoughts on the book?
It was really, really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was no, I mean, even though it, like, left on somewhat of a positive note, it's still just the thought of the whole thing is incredibly sad. It was really hard at times, to read it, and, like, especially with the dad, just what he was going through. I don't even want to, like, put myself in that headspace, like, thinking of, like, if I were in that situation.
Yeah. What about the movie?
Oh, the movie, it was good. After reading the book, the movie by itself is a good movie, but after reading the book and comparing the two, it really bothered me how much they, like, changed up and left out.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. I wonder about that, though. Like, I wonder, like, does it have to do with, like, the audience? Like, I mean, I know it's, like, a tough subject, but, like, the movie left out a lot of really, like, important parts.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not really tasteful, per se, to, like, show someone being raped, especially a child, but, like, that's the whole part of it, was such a violent death.
Yeah.
And they didn't show the death at all. I mean, we'll get into that.
Did they even, in the movie, say that she was raped?
No, not at all.
Yeah, because that was, like, a big thing about, like, Mr. Harvey, the rapist and murderer. Like, all of his victims were young girls, and I think he raped all of them.
I'm sure. It's disgusting.
It was, like, it was an itch is what she described it as. Like, he would get, and he would do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that was...
I'll have to get more into that later.
Yeah, it would probably have to be rated R
what was it? Rated PG?
Probably PG-13. Maybe. I don't know. I'll check that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that would probably have made it harder for audiences to see it. I don't know. I don't think it really appealed to, like, a younger audience anyway, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's, like, the only reason I can think of that they wouldn't put in everything.
For sure.
What were your thoughts on the book and the movie?
I didn't really like either of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that the book was, like, for what it was. Like, I've read other Alice Sebold books.
Yeah.
And they're usually, at least the ones that I've read, I think, and I don't think I'm wrong by saying this, like, I'm 99% sure she had been raped when she was a younger girl.
Oh my God.
And because she has a book that I own called Lucky, and it's like a memoir about her rape.
Oh my
and, like,
God.
her survival afterwards. And then she also wrote, another one that has to do with something like that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with working that out through writing.
Yeah.
But this book, I don't know what about it. I don't know if it was the actual writing itself. I don't know if it was the storyline, but I just could not get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely a good book. That's not to say it's not a good book. It was very descriptive, and it's like a good read.
Yeah. After you had mentioned that to me the first time, just, like, talking about how, like, there were just tangents that she went on, just, like, about random things, I started, like, realizing it. And there's just, like, a lot of fluff, like, just random, like, paragraphs that were just completely irrelevant to the story and, like, never were brought back around or anything. It wasn't, like, a theme or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought the movie was really well done as far as, like, aesthetics go. And like you said, if you had just watched the movie by itself, it's a good movie. Like, it does does the storyline justice, question mark. I mean, even then, I don't know if I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, it's a good movie for what it is.
Yeah.
But if you're comparing it to the book, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's almost not even the same thing at certain times.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like a lot of the important themes were there, but they weren't as, like, emphasized as they should have been.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we can get all into that, but...
Yeah, I agree.
But, yeah, just generally.
Mm-hmm. So, should we give a summary of the book?
You go for it.
Let me see. We can probably just read it.
Oh, right. Oh, we do always do that. I always forget. Well, the book starts out with her introducing herself and saying, my name is Susie Salmon, like the fish. This is when I was born. And also, this is when I was killed. Like, pretty much she goes straight into her murder.
Yeah.
Like, page 1, which is nice. It's a good way to get everybody's attention. But
yeah, get it over with.
Yeah, so this girl who lives in a small town in, was it Michigan? No, it's not Michigan. That was Virgin Suicides. It's somewhere
up north. Yeah.
Anyway, but, yeah, so she's this 14-year-old girl?
I think 14.
14-year-old girl. And, she just lives an average life. She has a little baby brother and a younger sister. Mm-hmm. She's just a little bit younger than
She's
her.
like 1 or 2 years younger, I think.
And then she is raped and murdered, and dismembered,
mm-hmm.
and disposed of in a pit, pretty much, by a neighbor. Like a couple houses down. A sinkhole, yeah. And, a couple houses down, his name is George Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused with Steve Harvey.
No.
Could you imagine? What if Steve Harvey played the murder part?
Oh my god.
That would be terrifying.
I would never see him the same again.
Yeah, so she's murdered by this neighbor, and pretty much the whole story is her perspective from heaven, mm-hmm. trying to communicate with her family, like, not quite being able to let go. Well, she's not even in heaven. She's in an in-between place. So she hasn't quite made it to heaven yet, but she can't let go of the world yet because she's still got, like, unfinished business there.
Mm-hmm.
So she's trying to, like, communicate with everyone in her family, while also figuring out this whole new world that she's living in.
Yeah.
And tackling those feelings that she's having, like, as a teenager, and then also a murdered teenager, and murdered teenager in the in-between is what she calls it. So she's going through a lot.
And, like, to have her life, like, totally robbed. Like, mm-hmm. she talked about all her, like, aspirations and stuff.
Never had her first kiss kind of thing.
She did in the book.
In the book?
Yeah. In the book, her and, what's his name? Ray. They do kiss at the lockers. But in the movie,
yeah, you beautiful Susie.
Yeah, because in the book, it makes a big deal about, like, her sister, like, having sex for the first time, and mm-hmm. that's something she never experienced. And so, like, the book, that, like, sex is what it harped on a little bit more. And in the movie, they made it that she never had a kiss. So when she came back,
makes sense.
She kissed him.
Yeah. So basically that's the whole wrap up of the thing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of follows, like, her family, their downfall, and then their ultimate kind of, like, coming together.
Yeah.
After, like, years and years after her death, finally coming to accept it mm-hmm. for what it is, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
Really beautiful book. So yeah, we can talk about her mom and her dad. So her mom mm-hmm. and her dad obviously are super affected by this.
Yeah.
Her dad, I would say, handles it worse than her mom does, mm-hmm. but I think maybe it hits him harder than it hits her mom, but her mom handles it worse than the dad does.
Yeah. 100%.
So, like, the dad, like, it's just just spiraling downwards. Like, these things keep happening. Yeah. Obviously his daughter's been murdered, and he's, like, obsessing over the fact that he thinks he knows who did it.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple, leads that he brings to the police are complete, like, what do you call those? Dead ends.
Yeah,
dead ends. And then finally, when he does, kind of figure Mr. Harvey out with the help of his dead daughter, mm-hmm. in a way, the police don't believe him because he's been, like, they're really like, we don't have any evidence.
It's like the boy who cried wolf.
Right. Which is true. That's what sucks, though. And, like, that's what sucks about just, like, murder cases in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in real life, when people, like, you know exactly who did it, but there is no way to prove it, you can't bring them to court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he was getting, like, people get mad all the time, like, you know, at the police saying, oh, why aren't you bringing this person to jail? Why aren't you, like, putting him away in prison for the rest of his life? I'm like, so much harder than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not only do you have to find, like, evidence, but then they have to prove it, and they just didn't have that.
Yeah, they didn't have, like, a warrant to even search his house or
right,
anything.
because if they had a warrant, they would need a reason to have a warrant.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And you can't do it off suspicion.
Right. So that's what, it's like just a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So the dad has his eye on Mr. Harvey, and so does the sister.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had, like, a nice conversation,
mm-hmm.
like, at first after the murder, and I think the mom was still there, but she was really, like...
distant.
Yeah, distant.
Mm-hmm.
The dad and the young son, Buckley, got really close,
mm-hmm.
and the dad kind of, like, him and Lindsay felt like they were pushing each other apart, I guess. Like, Lindsay completely shut down afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And, they have, like, a conversation. Like, the mom isn't, like, being a mom anymore at all. And he finds Lindsay shaving for the
mm-hmm.
first time. And he's like, all right, well, if you're going to do it, like, do it right. And so they, like, kind of open up to each other. And
mm-hmm.
that's whenever she asks him,
mm-hmm.
like, do you think Mr. Harvey did it? And he was like, yeah. And I thought that was cool because she's, like, what, like, 12, 13 or mm-hmm. something at this point. And they're having such a mature conversation. And...
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it reminded me of the virgin suicides in a way of, like, here are these two parents that have lost a kid and, like, how they react to it
mm-hmm.
after the death. Like, we have, you know, Susie's mom who ran off to BFE and had an affair with the police chief.
Yeah. Which was left out of the movie.
Which was completely left out of the movie.
Entirely.
Well, his, like, whole, like, you never even saw, like, Ray's mom or anything like that. Like,
yeah.
Or actually you did for, like, a split second, I think. She was in there for, like, a second.
Did they ever, like, talk to her or anything,
mm-hmm.
though? Yeah. I thought, yeah.
No. Yeah, so the mom goes off and starts having an affair with the police that's investigating.
Yeah.
Susie. Like, he's, like, heading the whole thing up, which is so fucked.
And the first time that... I think that they have sex is at the hospital mm-hmm. after the father got mm-hmm. beaten up.
Yeah.
Because he had, like, seen a light in the cornfield that Susie was killed in and went after it. It was, like, teenagers, and they beat him up with a bat.
Mm-hmm.
And she, like, goes to the hospital and has sex with Lynn.
Yeah, I was not a fan of her. I mean,
No.
I get we all mourn and, like, deal with stuff in our different ways, but that is not how you fucking mourn.
No.
Or cheat on your husband after...
No. When he's, like... unconscious.
I don't understand why people do that. Like, if someone, like, has, like, a miscarriage or something, and then, like, the husband goes out and cheats, I'm like, that does nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I get it, but, I don't know, it just pisses me off, and it just sucks how, because he was such, like, a good character in this, her dad, like...
Yeah.
He just kept trying and trying
Yeah,
and trying.
He never gave up. That was the thing. Like, he did become really obsessive to the point where, like, he was making himself crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, oh my God, I don't even want to, like, think about it. But I feel like that's what my dad would do.
Yeah,
I'm, like, getting emotional just thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's been an emotional day. But, like, I feel like that's something both my mom and dad would do, you know? Like, they wouldn't stop. Because it's so, like, they're not even, like, for sure that she was murdered, but mm-hmm. her elbow was found and there was blood, so you have to assume. But to never know is, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also, like, a big closure thing. Like, if whoever is burying this person that's been murdered doesn't have a body to bury them with, like, that really sucks. Like, everyone who's murdered, like, I think their family deserves to have their body afterwards so they can do what they want with it. Like, it sucks to think that, like, when someone's murdered, their body's just chopped up into a million pieces or, you know, thrown in acid or, and, like, thrown off a cliff, wherever, and their body never gets, like, true peace.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just the ultimate fucking sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I really admired her dad, and I thought the same thing. And movies don't really make me cry, and like books especially don't make me cry. But the movie, it, like just watching it, like I was tearing up a little bit because like I was just like, that's like a father's love right there. Like, and you're right. Like you think about like your own parents, and you're like, they would do the same for me. It's always a comforting feeling.
Oh God.
I know. Except my dad, he has like no fucking self-restraint. Like I have a feeling he would end up just murdering Mr. Harvey before anybody proved anything. Yeah. He would end up going to jail.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so it's just a shitty situation all around.
Yeah.
And so we have her sister, who, badass bitch. We both have sisters. We both understand like the bond of sisterhood is like unbreakable. And so when her sister made this whole elaborate plan for her to start running with the boys' soccer team.
Oh, yeah.
And this was literally just a plan that she had. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, you can run and train with us, blah, blah, blah. And then she, like, all of a sudden falls back one day. She's, like, got a cramp. She, like, kind of falls back. And then she goes into Mr. Harvey's house.
After, like, casing it for, like, weeks.
Right.
Like,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. And so in the book and in the movie, she goes into Mr. Harvey's house, but that's where they differ at too. It's like in that. So in the movie, you want to go ahead? I'm talking too much.
No, that's okay. Yeah. So in both of them, she breaks in through the basement window.
Yeah.
And so so in the book, I thought it was cool because Susie's like kind of guiding her in a way, even though like Lindsay has no. Like, she doesn't know that she's there, but, like, it's still, like, she's guiding her through the house, which, like, she's keeping her going forward. And Lindsay's, like, looking at everything, trying to find any little thing, and she goes upstairs to Mr. Harvey's room, and, like, pretty much the whole place is empty, right? Yeah. Like, except for, like, his doll houses that he builds. Which is like
extra creepy.
Yeah.
Anyone that builds doll houses in like the 21st century, I know that was the 20th century, but watch out. They need to be on a list somewhere. People
especially
that build doll houses.
Like home alone, or not home alone, but like
homeless.
Especially like, I don't know.
Yeah, when
it's just
creepy,
weird.
sad dude with big glasses sitting in his dark house. Making doll houses? That should have been their first fucking... Well, didn't Len ask? He was like, do you have kids?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, no, it's just something I enjoy making.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he said that he had a wife, but he had, like, given different people different names for his wife. And it's later revealed that, like, the names he gives were, like, victims of his. Which disgusting. Is so messed up.
Yeah.
But so she, like, makes her way upstairs. And his room in the house, like, they live in a... big, like, what's the word? Like, the neighborhood. It's like a
development?
Yeah, development. And, like, all the houses pretty much have the same layouts. And his room was the same as Susie's room in their house.
Ironically.
Yeah. And so she goes in, and there's a journal on his bedside table, I think.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that it differs from the movie. In the journal, he had, like, drawn out... the plans for the little, like, trap in the cornfield that he had lured Susie into. And that's what she rips out and, like, takes with her. And in the movie, she finds it in the floorboard, and it's, like, a book of, what do we call it? Like, a book of...
Memorabilia. Wait, no, it wasn't memorabilia. It was, mementos.
Mementos, yeah. Like, in the movie, he had, like, a book of, like, the girls that had disappeared and, like, locks of their hair. And that's what Lindsay brought back to her family. So, like, as she's, like, getting this page, like, out of the book, she rips it out, and Mr. Harvey's home. Like, she, like, didn't hear him come in. And so she, like, barely makes it out the window, rolls off. In the book, she pops right back up and, like, runs out. But in the movie, it's, like, I guess for dramatic effect. Like, she's, like, laying there for a little bit longer and almost gets caught, but she doesn't. And
I will say, though, that, like, when he hears something and she's, like, just setting, like, she finds this sketchbook instead of on his bedside table. In the movie, she finds it, like, under this, like, floorboard that's been removed. That's how I feel about that floorboard in our living room. I'm like, we could put anything in that.
Yeah.
And so he What was I saying? Oh, yeah.
The floorboard.
When she's, like, trying to, like, like,
and
put
it's,
it
like, by
down.
her, like, the tips of her nails.
The tips of her fingers, just fucking trying to lay it down so soft. And then it's, like, going back, like, really fast, like, between, like, up close, uncomfortably up close, like, of Mr. Harvey's face, and then uncomfortably up close to, like, her fingernail, and it just keeps going back and forth until she finally drops the board and he runs up. That shit, I know it wasn't in the book, blah blah blah, but it was that was intense. I was like, I knew it was gonna happen, but I was like, still.
I can't remember the first time I watched the movie, but I was a lot younger and I didn't remember a lot from it, but that was one thing I remembered, was that scene whenever really she's intense. Like dropping the floorboard.
Really intense.
So, and then she gets home, shows it to her dad. Her mom is gone at this point.
Still,
in the movie, she had just come back.
Conveniently.
Yeah. And in the movie, he didn't have a heart attack. It was like he had just come back from the hospital after getting beaten up. And that's what brought her home from California.
Right.
But, yeah, so in the book, she brings the paper to her dad, and they call Lynn, and no, she was still home in the book. The mom was still home because Lindsay brings that paper home and shows them.
Oh, yeah.
And the mom
like,
leaves. Yeah.
Right?
She's like, I'm like over this. Like, stop obsessing over it. She leaves. She gets Lynn to meet her at the mall, has sex with him at the mall. Meanwhile, Harvey, I think that's when George Harvey, like, wait, I'm getting like all the timelines mixed up. I think that's when he leaves.
They were wildly different.
Well, in the book, he calls the police because that's, like, the normal thing to do. But then I think right after that is when he leaves. Yeah, because Lynn doesn't come to his house. It's, like, 2 other officers, and he's, like, explaining to them. He's like, that was my toe. He was explaining to them, like, oh, like, I was just trying to figure it out, like, how I could have prevented it and all this bullshit.
Like, that's what the sketches were about.
Yeah.
Like, I was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Lynn, who, had he been there, I feel like he would have been like, bullshit, you're coming in.
Yeah.
Lynn has no idea that this call, like, came in and has no idea what's going on.
Because he's too busy having sex with a married woman.
Yeah. Who, like, he's working closely with the dad, too, which is so fucked up. Ugh. But, yeah. So, after they, like, come to Harvey's house, he's like, yeah, I was trying to figure it out. And then I'm pretty sure that's when he packs up and he dips out.
Right,
like, he leaves, like, town, and that's when the whole town is like, oh, like, that was him. Like,
should have listened to the crazy dad.
Yeah.
Who's hovering home, and didn't he say his leg was always going to be stiff, like, after that? It was just like, poor guy.
Yeah, so after all that happens, the mom leaves. And she...
So irresponsible.
Yeah, and she doesn't say anything. I don't think she even leaves him a note. She leaves, and she goes to, like, stay in her, like, father's cabin in, like, New Hampshire or something for a few months, and then she travels out west to California and, like, works in a vineyard or something, and just, like, sends her kids postcards every now and again, just trying to keep up. I don't know, that made me so, I did not like the mom at all. Like, even when she came back, I was happy, but at the same time, like, if you're gonna do that to your family, and, like, it goes through her talking about how she, like, never even wanted kids, and she was, like, fine with Susie and Lindsay, and then she accidentally got pregnant with Buckley, and that's what, like, changed everything. Oh, God. And she, so.
It's, like, blaming her, like, hardships on her kids. Like,
yeah. And, yeah, like, I know, like, that's how she's dealing with all of this, but...
It's not a legitimate way.
No.
I mean, that's, like...
You can't, like, just leave your family.
Yeah, you can't check out when your daughter's, like, been murdered.
Yeah, and you have 2 other kids that are so young and so dependent on you to be, like, a support system.
Yeah, because Buckley's still, like, what? Like, a toddler almost, a little bit older
than... I think he was 4 whenever she...
got murdered.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was too young to really understand, and they, for a while, were like, oh, like, Susie's just not here, and then... The dad, like, describes to him how, like, she's in heaven with Monopoly, which was really sad. Oh, God.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's a hard book. I mean, it's never easy to, like talk about, like, murder and stuff. You know, of a young, like, person, especially. But then, to kind of hear it from to kind of hear it from her perspective, like how she was like perceiving her murder from the outside, and like how she was perceiving all the aftermath of it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I just thought that was like one of the better things about the book. I mean, I know that it's the whole book, but it was like a nice, and it was like a nice narration, like without it being super cheesy or anything. And
yeah.
although she does drag on a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. So let's just talk about Mr. Harvey really fast.
Yeah.
So, this motherfucker. I mean, I thought the actor was great for Mr. Harvey.
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, I get it. He didn't want to look anything, like, close to what he actually looks like.
Yeah.
But those contacts were so bad. But I guess it made him creepier, which made him even...
At first, I didn't even, like, think about that. Like, it was just unsettling, and I couldn't figure it out. And I think you said something about his eyes.
Yeah, they were beady as fuck.
Yeah.
And they had contacts in them.
Yeah.
Which makes them extra scary.
Yeah, so a fun movie fact about Stanley Tucci playing Mr. Harvey. I didn't read, like, if he had, like, considered it for a while or, like, I don't know what. But when he did agree to be in the movie, he asked to be, like, as different looking as possible. So, like, I think he had, like, veneers in and, like, the fake hair, fake eyes. Yeah. Maybe, like, a fake nose. I don't
He
even
definitely
know.
looked like he was wearing, like a costume, but that could have been Mr. Harvey General, like, you know.
Yeah.
How he's just wearing veneers and stuff to change what he really looks like.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, I didn't know who Stanley Tucci was the first time I saw the movie, but when I, like, saw that was him, I could not believe it. Like, he's such a, like, loving person. Like, it's such a different role for him.
Yeah, it got me thinking. I'm like, how does, when someone's making a movie and there's, like, a pervert or, like, a child molester or, like, a murderer in it that murders and rapes a child, like, how do they go about casting that? Are they just, like, call for all pedophile-looking men? Like, do they literally put that out? Hey, like, I mean, I couldn't imagine going to an audition, like, knowing that I was auditioning for, like, the role of a pedophile. I mean, I get, like, money is money is money.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I would just...
Yeah. I don't know.
If they approach him, hey, you kind of look like a pedophile.
Yeah, I don't know if they approached him or not, because it was Peter Jackson, the great, who did like Lord of the Rings and everything. And so I don't know. I feel like he would have like him or like the casting people that he got for it would have reached out to people. Like I don't feel like Stanley Tucci would have had to audition for that, you know? And whoever they got, I guess like if it was like a smaller budget thing, I guess just like putting glasses on them and you can kind of make anyone look like a pedophile. Maybe. Yeah. To an extent.
Yeah, the quintessential pedophile.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole scene with her getting murdered. I just had I'm like not trying to say it to be like graphic or gory or anything or like gross, but like I thought it sucked. Like I'm fine with not seeing her get raped. Right. I wish it had been insinuated only because like I think it would have hit that much harder. Yeah. Like it's one thing to like murder a child, that's awful, but then to murder and rape a child before you murder them, like that's like it's like next level. Yeah. And so, and for that to be like her first time like having sex kind of thing, for her to just like lose that, it's just it's just disgusting. Yeah. And so I thought that would have been like I said, maybe not show it, but insinuate it. Yeah. But the fact that like they didn't really show that how he murdered her, they didn't show like that he dismembered her
and he brought her home in a sack.
Yeah, they didn't show that the neighbor's dog found her elbow. Yeah, you know, they didn't show any of that. And right, don't want to be graphic, that's fine, PG-13, whatever, but it's like I don't know, I feel like it would have been, because in the movie all you do is you see him drag her back in to the thing. And then you see her get up and run. Yeah, yeah. And then you see her, like, running, and you're like, okay, so she got away. And then she passes by Ruth, who just happens to be standing there.
Which was at a completely different part of the book.
But she, like, kind of, like, touched her in a way, and, like, Ruth kind of, like... So that's the only time you see that Susie's even dead, is that she goes from running in real life to running as a ghost. Like, the next frame, she's, like, opaque. And I'm like, that is so fucking cheap. Yeah. if they didn't want to show the murder part, fine, but like I feel like there should have been a little bit more of a struggle for you to realize that she was murdered, you know that already, but murdered so viciously, you know? So.
Yeah. In the book, did it even say how he murdered her?
I think he, I want to say he hit her over the head with something and then, I don't know. I don't know if it says exactly how. It does say she was dismembered, but I don't know.
Which is just, again, just like adding another layer to how disgusting the whole thing is, like to cut up a child's body.
Yeah, and the fact that like wow, she was out there getting murdered in the cornfield where no one can hear her or see her, or you know, the fact that they're like all sitting at home like getting ready for dinner, they're like, oh, just set her food aside, like she should have called, like blah blah blah, and it just made me sick.
Yeah.
So it says she talks about the rape. Ew, and he just says big white panties. I don't
even remember that.
It says big white panties. I felt huge and bloated. I felt like a sea in which he stood and pissed and shat. Poor baby. He started working himself all over me, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes, like, just cuts to, like, her parents, like, talking about eating dinner and, like, how their brother made a new finger painting. Still breathing. Oh, this quote is terrible. I knew he was going to kill me. I did not realize then I was an animal already dying.
Oh, yeah.
So we have her, tell me you love me. Gently I did. The end came anyway. Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. When I would not, was it only that I would not follow his suggestion? He leaned to the side and felt over his head across the ledge where his razor and shaving cream sat. He brought back a knife, unsheathed. It smiled at me, curving up a grin. So he stabbed her.
Oh my God.
And stuffed her mouth with her hat.
Yeah, that her mom made her.
Right. So like you don't see him come at her with a knife. Like this, like just reading that little bit, like that pisses me off. Like I feel like the act in general pisses me off. Like I feel like it would have just hit that much harder.
Yeah.
Had anything been insinuated a little bit more, but
yeah.
But I also get it. I mean, it's probably hard to make that like tasteful, you know, when it's not like a Criminal Minds episode.
Yeah, and to find an actor that's willing to be filmed acting like raping a child, like, and to find a child whose parents are willing to like allow them to.
That's why I want us to read Bastard Out of Carolina. That movie is phenomenal. I remember watching that when I was younger, and that movie fucking shook me.
I'm gonna write it down.
So yeah, I mean, I just wish that, not that they had highlighted him anymore, I just wish that it would have been, I don't know, a little bit more direct without being grotesque.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the movie, too, it made it seem, besides his book of mementos and the girls you see in the in-between later on, it doesn't really, like, tell you about all the women and children that he's killed. And it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he's been...
Yeah, that wasn't his first kill.
Yeah,
kind of
it's been like almost a decade, I think, of killing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it freaks me out about stuff like that, because like he was like a neighbor and they had just been talking to him, you know.
Yeah.
Like the parents talked to him and...
Everybody thought he was nice, but he just kind of kept to himself.
Right. That's how I feel about that guy in the house.
Yeah.
I'm like, something in that house is not right.
I've never seen him come out before. Like, I've never seen him
once. There's never any lights on in there. There's always just like one light.
That's like him. Like, Mr. Harvey had an alarm to tell him when to turn the lights on and off in his house, like in different rooms. All right.
So that I mean, I think I've said all I need to say on Mr. Harvey, other than he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. And
I would kill a motherfucker.
I thought he would be in the book a lot more than he was. Like, when he was brought up, it was the details that you needed to update you on, like, where he is. Because the book takes place over about a decade of time, I think.
Yeah.
In the movie, it seemed like it was just a, like, year or two.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was cool, like, you see Lindsay grow up and all that. The mom leave, the grandma come and stay.
Mm-hmm. That grandma was badass.
Yeah.
She was cool.
Yeah, but it didn't like harp on him too much, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just like told you what you needed. Susie would like, she never went to check in on him because why would you?
Right.
But yeah, I was a little disappointed in his demise just because I wanted it to be a lot more of like a justice. But
yeah, like a mob.
Yeah.
Torturing him for like 72 hours until he finally dies.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I care to say too. Stanley Tucci played a good, horrible person.
Yeah, yeah. He definitely had like an air of like just being really uneasy. Like just watching him in the movie, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, like, you don't want to like look at him.
Those contacts, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like God, something's not right about that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that brings us to a good place. So,
all right, let's stop there for part 1.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thus far.
And get ready for part 2 that happens right now.
This is part 2.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. This is part 2.
This is the book club for bitches who don't read.
The Lovely Bunch, part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2.
My dad calls this the book club for bitches who don't like to read. And I'm always like, it's not that. And he's like, I know, but I always get a reaction. I'm like, okay.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. He's a good man.
Yeah. All right.
Shout out.
All right. Let's get into this.
Okay. Finger gun. Susie, when she dies, she doesn't quite go to heaven yet, which we discussed, but she goes to this place called the In-Between. Mm-hmm. Which cracks me up because it sounds like something from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
The In-Between, the Upside Down.
The Upside Down.
God, we've been reading some heavy-ass books.
I know.
American Psycho is really fucking heavy. Call Me By Your Name was heavy in a different way. But we've literally read like 3 out of our 4 books has been about like death.
Yeah.
Like severe death.
Yeah, and 1984 is just like...
Oh, I forgot about 1984. Jesus,
there's no good future.
No, yeah. 1984 is just a shitty one in general.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that book. Anyway, so they go to the In-Between. She shows up in the In-Between. But in the book, the In-Between is like more of like a world. Like there are other people in it.
Yep.
Her and what's her name? Molly.
Holly.
Holly.
Yeah.
Holly Molly.
Holly Molly.
They have a duplex.
Yeah, they like become friends and like you can just imagine things and they'll appear.
Right.
Which is so cool.
Which I think he did well in the movie, like while translating that. But
yeah.
I was like kind of bummed like that in the In-Between in the movie wasn't as like true as it was in the book. Not true, but the same as it was in the book. But at the same time, I think it was necessary for it to be that like empty and vast to kind of show you like how alone she was and like it's like uncharted territory, literally and figuratively, you know what I mean? So for her to just be this like 14-year-old girl who has like no life experience at all, just getting thrown into this like purgatory almost.
Yeah. That's a good word for it.
That's what the Catholics call it. I think purgatory has more of a negative connotation, but still.
It's like you haven't like completed something.
Right. You haven't gone to heaven just yet.
Yeah.
But and some people stay in purgatory for their whole lives. Or for their whole afterlives.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean I would have liked to see it. I think it would have been more comforting, you know, to see her like with other people and like, you know, having this duplex and
she had like a school,
right? But in the movie, it's literally just her in like open fields, pretty much, which were beautifully done though.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
wow,
that was cool.
That would be a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And then so she in the In-Between towards the end, right? She meets up with pretty much all the girls that George Harvey has ever killed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and she like lists out their names, which is really sad.
Yeah.
And like
how old they were and when and where and
just really fucking sad stuff.
Yeah.
And so
how young was the youngest one? Like
8 or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe no, wasn't one like drastically young, like 4 or something?
That's what I was thinking, but I couldn't remember if I was thinking about Buckley's age.
Oh, but so we have 13, 8, 12, 49, 6. 13. So 6.
Yeah. God.
So he killed, like 7 other women. Well, 1 other woman and 6 children. Or however many of her children.
And that woman was just because wasn't she just, like, annoying him or something? Like, it was his landlady, I think, in an apartment. And I don't remember.
It says it on here. Yeah, so how do you feel about this in between? Like, what would you do if you literally just, like, woke up? Like, I also was kind of wondering, too, like, what do you think your in between would look like if we're going by the book?
Oh, yeah.
Like, not quite heaven.
Uh-huh.
But, like, your in between.
Yeah. So, the in between for me, I thought was really cool because it did have the other people, and there was a lady that was like a motherly figure to her and Holly. But then to be able to just sit there and, like, see your family on Earth and not be able to talk to them and not be able to tell them what happened to you, and just know that they're down there and you're alone.
And it's so hard to communicate with them. Like, you can, but you have to put, like, all of your energy and twice that into it to even make a light bulb flicker kind of thing.
It's like what you said. It just makes me feel sick, like, to think about that. Like, I would just be so upset, I think. And it is good that she had other people, and that is, like, a distraction, and other people that had, like, been in similar issues, and young people that she could be friends with. Unfortunately, they're all dead.
Yeah, and you don't realize that Holly has been murdered by George Harvey until the very end, right?
Was she?
Yeah, Holly was one of his victims, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because she ends up in the water or something. And she gets murdered. Hold on, let me just double check here before I... Because I think I remember being like, God damn. Keep talking. I'm gonna find it.
But yeah, so it was really sad. It was just really, really sad. And, like, everything with Ray, the boy that she liked in her middle school, because she wasn't even in high school yet, before she had died,
he kissed... He didn't. For some reason, I thought he did. Anyway, go ahead.
Maybe she was just like
I think she was murdered too, though.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, because you see her, like, or maybe just in the movie she was murdered.
Yeah.
Because you see her, like, underwater, like, dead kind of looking.
Shoot, I might have fallen asleep. I fell asleep for, like, a second.
You did, because I said something. Usually when you fall asleep in the middle of, like, a movie or, like, even, like, a stand-up, I'll be laughing, I'll be like, ha, 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 and then I'll be like, wow, I guess she didn't find that funny. Like, I thought that was pretty funny, and I'll look over and you'd be passed out.
Oh, my God.
Because one night we were watching that Ellen stand-up with your sister.
Oh, yeah.
And we were all, like, talking and stuff, and, you know, me, I just kept talking, and I was, like, just laughing and carrying on. I was like, God, those bitches are just not in a laughing mood tonight. Like, everything you were saying was so funny, and I was like, God. And I finally, like, looked at you guys like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
You guys were both passed out.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I, like, woke up for the end of that. I am my mother's daughter. She falls asleep, like, within 30 minutes of any movie.
It's relaxing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, like, what do you think, like, your, like, in between would look like? So it's like heaven.
Yeah. In
a way, but there's no, like, I guess heaven has more of a finality to it. Like, once you're in heaven, like, that's
it, yeah.
It.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. Like, I would want to say, like, my family would be with me and stuff, but that's not the case in the in-between. Like, you're not, like, your family's alive, so they're not there. You can't just imagine them up there, which I think would make it harder knowing that wasn't, like, really them. But I don't know. I think it would be...
like, I guess, what would your heaven look like?
Yeah.
If we're not going by the standard Christian.
I would think I would like for it to be kind of like a California landscape where it's like there's mountains and there's ocean and there's so much to do and so much to see, and it's just peaceful and enriching. I don't know. It makes me really sad to think about. There's always good music and coffee shops everywhere.
That's true. I just overheard it. Actually, it was Den talking about, like, how, like, I guess, like, he's not afraid to die, and, like, when he says that, like, people get freaked out. Like, I'm not afraid to die kind of thing. But it's true. I mean, like, you should, like, it sucks to die. Like, it's sad to die, especially when it's in a way like Susie died. But, like, I don't think death should be something that's, like, quite feared.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if there is such a thing as, like, a mental oasis when you die, like, that might be the life. You know what I mean?
I think that's what is so scary about it, is just you really don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess some people are more sure than others, just depending on their beliefs and all that. But, and not to get into a whole, like, belief thing, but, you know, just, like, the complete unknown of what it is. And nobody knows, because once you die, you can't come back and tell everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would yours look like?
There's, like, times in my life where I'm just, like, sitting doing something and I'm like, this is what heaven would look like. Like, today, I was painting, the door is wide open. Like, the past 2 Saturdays, I've been able just to open that door right there on the balcony and just, like, open it and just paint for however long I wanted to. I wasn't on, like, a tight schedule. Like, one of my worst pet peeves is, like, be painting and then, like, I have to do something afterwards. So I know I can't be, like, painting for hours kind of thing. I, like, have to go to work in 2 hours. Like, it sucks. So, like, whenever I can just paint, you know, and not have to worry about the time, like, that always just feels so good to me. And, like, I had like, stuff playing on the record player, and, like, Izzy was just sitting there, like, bathing in the sun, like, eating a bone, and I'm just looking at, like, painting and just not really drinking, like, coffee that I made, like, 3 hours ago, but it's still good kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
That's, like, so beautiful.
It's just, like, little moments like that where I'm like, this is probably what heaven feels like.
Yeah.
Because I think, I used to think that, like, death was annihilation. Like, I thought, like, when you died, that was it. Like, there was no heaven, there was no hell. It's just black. And it could very well be that. But, like, whenever I see, you know, people that I've lost or people that have lost other people, whatever, vice versa, and they get, like, little reminders from wherever, you know, and, like, these weird things happen, you know, like my uncle with the train, and like, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, there's no way, it's literally just nothing. And I'm not a religious person at all. I mean, I respect it, but it's just like, whenever I see that kind of stuff, I'm just like, there's no way.
Like,
there
has to be something more.
Like, when that happened with my mom and my aunt, I was like, I could think about, like, my uncle maybe is in the in-between, like, you know, like, sending a quick message before they go off to heaven or wherever the hell they're going. So, like, I don't know, mine would just be like that. Lots of sunshine. Definitely a candle. Always gotta have it smelling good. In between would smell like fresh linen.
Oh, that's good.
And there would be good coffee, but it wouldn't be expensive. So I wouldn't have to pay for it.
And it's always hot. And not too hot.
Exactly. And I would be somewhere out on a balcony, and whenever I look out, it could be the street, it could be Italy, it could be fucking Moscow, I don't know, just like somewhere, like, you know, where the sun is shining and the birds are singing. I'm good with it. Like, because I just think about it, like, because, you know, and especially being such, like, a freaking true crime nerd, I always think about, like, my demise. I'm like, I wonder how, like, it's gonna be when I die. Like, I wonder what I'm gonna die from, or, you know, when I'm gonna die. Like, I always wonder that. So I'm not particularly scared of it, but like you said, it's just like that unknown. That is kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's kind of scary. Like, I don't think I would like to prematurely die, but if I did, I would be cool with it. You know what I mean? Like, because if, no matter what, whether death is annihilation or what, like, you know, you can't, like, stop, like, your death. Like, if you're gonna die tomorrow, you're gonna die tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't think I'd be so afraid of it. It's just kind of like, I'd rather not die prematurely, but I will if I need to. Like, if that's, I don't know, because
if there you're kind of at peace with.
And if there is a chance with, I mean, because, like, you know, staying on Earth is nice because you get to live your life out and you get to see your parents, like, you get to see your family, you get to see your friends, you get to see your dog, like, up close, but, you know. That's, I don't know, I'm going to go into, like, a whole existential crisis over here. But, so, I mean, it just makes me think, I'm like, do I even fear death? A little bit, but not a lot. Kill my ass. Come kill me.
No, don't say that. I don't know what I would do.
So, I mean, I thought, like, the book was really nice. It did kind of go on. It was like very kind of young adult.
I thought so too, yeah. Which is, for the content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about like Susie's outro, kind of. Just like the end of her time and the in-between when she comes down to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I loved that part of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So it's towards the end a little bit, and everybody, like Ruth and Ray, which were the two people that she like impacted a lot when she was on Earth that were around her age, they had become really good friends after her death because that was something that they could, grieve together about. And they're grown up, they're like out and like going to school. Ruth is in New York, and they find out that like the sinkhole is getting filled up, and it's like a staple of the town, which is funny because that's where Mr. Harvey drops Susie's body.
And no one knows.
Yeah, and she's just down there. But so they go to the sinkhole one last time before it's filled up, just, for shits and giggles. And Ray goes off. I can't remember exactly why, but Ruth is standing at the sinkhole and she's thinking about Susie for the first time in a while, and she's just like Susie, like, or no, she sees her standing next to her, and she was like, "What do you want? Like what can I like do?" And Susie disappears, and Ruth is just kind of like, "All right," and
cool.
So then, like, just a little bit later, they're still out there, and Susie falls down to Earth, and she wakes up, and she's Ruth. Mm-hmm. And Ray, like, rushes over to her to make sure she's okay. And it's Ruth he's seeing. It's Ruth he thinks is there. And Ruth is an interesting character, too, because she sees, like, spirits, and she sees, like...
She's the first one that saw Susie, like, just after she got murdered.
Yeah.
Because doesn't Susie like just tap her by accident or something? Like just
yeah, she runs out of the cornfield because she's like standing next to the school or something, and she sees Susie run past her, and her mom's like your imagination's getting the better of you. Probably doesn't make her feel very good.
No.
But yeah, so Susie falls into Ruth's body, and Ruth like allows her to like possess her for a little bit, and by this point, like Susie's like her sister I think is like 21 at this point, so Susie would have been like 23, 24, and she's matured a lot in heaven, even though she's this 14-year-old, which is another hard thing too, just to like grow mentally, but you're a child forever. And she tells Ray, like, bring me to Hal's, which is like a character that's not mentioned in the movie. Hal is Samuel's older brother who has like a bike shop, and he's not there, and there's like a bed, and like I think he lives there, and I don't know exactly why she tells him to go there, but she like gets in the shower, she makes Ray kiss her in the car on the way there, and just because she's like been longing to kiss Ray again. And Ray, this is backtracking, but Ray had written her a love letter right before she died and slipped it into her book, and she never read it until after the fact. So, like, they get to this place, and there's a shower, and she's like, I'm going to go take a shower, and she tells him to come in, and he's like, I'm not that kind of person, Susie. She's like, what did you say? And he, like, repeats himself, but he doesn't say Susie again. She's like, you call me Susie. And then in that moment, like, just not really saying anything, they both, like, he knows that that's Susie somehow, like, in Ruth, and he goes into the shower, and they have sex, and, like, a couple of times, I think they, like, I don't know, but, so Susie gets to, like, live out this, like, one thing that I guess she's really just been longing for, and they get to lay there for a little bit and talk for just a little bit, and then, before you know it, like, Susie leaves Ruth's body, and now Ruth and Ray, like, have a lot to talk about, and, like, Ruth never really told anybody about, like, being able to see people and stuff, and, so they're, like, they aren't, like, romantically together, I don't think, anymore after that, just because, like, that was Susie, but that was really interesting, and then after that is when she kind of just goes to heaven, I think. She sees her family kind of rekindle. The father has a heart attack. The mom comes back from California, and they finally start talking about Susie as their dead daughter, which I think is one thing they never really said was like our dead daughter, like our murdered daughter. They never really accepted it, and it brought them together. And the kids, Lindsay and Buckley, are grown up, and Lindsay's about to get married, and Susie just sees like her family, she says, like finally like moving on without her, and they're at peace with that, and she's at peace with that, and that's when she can move on. And I don't know, I thought that was really, I'm about to get emotional again. It was so sad.
I love how whenever you're about to cry, you go.
I hate it. I like I cannot control myself.
See, I'm a shitty fucking person, because if I was looking down from heaven, I saw my parents like starting to move on, my sister starting to move on, I'd be like, no, motherfucker, look at me, I'm dead.
Yeah, well, I think she said like for a while that's how it was, and like whenever they weren't thinking about her, she was like upset, but then finally she started accepting it herself.
Yeah.
And there was a great quote, I can't remember. I remember like wanting to highlight it, but I was on the plane and I didn't have anything with me, but it was like talking about like you never really know like when somebody decides to move on. And it was just a really beautiful quote. I'll find it and I'll like post it on Instagram or something. But yeah, it was just really nice. And though it was a like good ending, I guess,
bittersweet,
she's still dead, and they'll still never know what happened to her. And hopefully they'll know that Harvey dies.
Yeah,
I think
what he deserves.
Yeah, like I think once they like find his body, which Mr. Harvey, after he runs, I think he kills several other people, and then finally, by dumb luck of the universe, he like tries to escort this girl into his car, and she like tells him to screw off, and he's like standing on the edge of a like ledge, I guess, and an icicle, which is so great, happens to fall, hit him on his shoulder, and he gets startled and stumbles back and falls off and breaks his neck probably. And
I thought that perfectness of it, I definitely thought that was all the girls like working together just to knock that thing off.
Yeah, because earlier in the book, Susie had talked about like her perfect murder, like it was like a science fair or something that her little sister is going to, and like the big project was like how to get away with murder, which is weird.
Yeah.
But she was like, my tool would be like an icicle, because then it would melt and then you would never have a weapon.
Right.
And then just the icicle falling on his shoulder was so perfect.
Yeah.
And then it said like his body wasn't found until a couple weeks later after the snow had melted, so he died.
He did.
Yeah, which I wish, like you said, it was like a torture or something that he deserved. And it sucks because
Patrick Bateman had like come down from New York and tortured him with a rat in his butt.
Yeah. It just sucks because like all those girls that he killed, there's never going to be justice for them because he just happened to die like in a stupid way.
Yeah. That's why it pisses me off when, like, serial killers or, like, child molesters, child rapists, child killers, whatever, like, when they fucking kill themselves, and it's like...
Yeah, you need to pay for what you've done.
Literally, that's not paying for what you've done.
Yeah, that's getting away with it.
Yeah, that's called... Yeah, exactly. It's called, like, the easy fucking way out.
Yeah.
In that respect.
Yeah. But yeah, so, overall, like, the ending of the book was fine. I just wish the family got more closure, but it's good that they were able to continue on with their lives together. Yeah.
Because I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, they didn't get her bones back, or that was the whole thing, and so her body, like I said, still kind of isn't at rest technically.
Yeah.
So I don't remember where I was going with that.
Well, her
Jesus.
Like the sinkhole got like covered up, so that's kind of like a burial, but not in the same way.
Yeah. I just wish I wish there was like some way for like her to be able to tell them. Wouldn't it be so nice, people that have like been murdered?
Yeah.
Can like have like one last phone call and be like, hey, this is who did this is how it happened, and this is where it happened.
Yeah.
Because she knew where her bones ended up. Like, she like, they're part of her still, so she could technically, like, she still had a connection to them.
Yeah. Which in the movie, it was so gross and freaky how, like, in the book, Mr. Harvey dumps her body immediately into the sinkhole. But in the movie, he waits until he runs, which has been like several years. So he's just had this decaying
in the lockbox.
Yeah, like in his basement. It's like a safe or something.
Safe lockbox.
Yeah.
Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really, really sad.
But you know what's
Mark Wahlberg was great.
Mark Wahlberg's fine.
Was that what you were about to say?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Mark Wahlberg, the daddy.
I don't think anybody else, at least speaking of other people to play, I don't think anybody. I thought he was so wonderful.
He did such a good dad job.
He's such a tough dude. Like to see him in such a vulnerable role.
I had someone that I wanted to play Mr. Harvey, and you remember I said it in the
I was excited to hear it,
and I can't remember it.
No.
Yeah, let me stew on it.
Okay, I can't think of anybody.
Because there was someone I was like, that would be perfect. Oh, I remember now. Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Like Bryan Cranston with hair.
Yeah, and his like Walter White mustache. Right. Oh, I would hate to see him like that.
Right,
but
exactly. I think
because I remember you saying like I would hate this, but it would be perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, that would be good, unfortunately.
The one and the only. Yeah, because he kind of just has that face.
Yeah.
Not like a pedophile face, but like could murder someone face.
Yeah, I agree. I can't think of anybody. Somebody that I would like to be Lynn, which is who I pictured while I was reading it. I don't know his real name. He's Commissioner Gordon from The Dark Knight.
Okay.
I'm going to look up his name really quick.
Not the one that turns into Two-Face?
No.
Who's the one that turns into Two-Face? What's his name?
That's Harvey Dent.
Harvey. Not George Harvey, but Harvey Dent.
Yeah. Gary Oldman could have been Lynn.
That was so fucked. About like her cheating.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't.
And in the book, Lindsay finds out, which is really, really sad.
Do you have any other comments about the movies? We've made this one, or movie or book, we've made this one pretty short.
Yeah.
We're at...
Which is good.
We're like an hour 15.
Yeah, like you said, like it was good, but I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like, there was so much to talk about in our other...
Yeah.
Like episodes. I just, for some reason, this one was kind of just like, yeah, it was really fucking sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember after I read the book, I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, like we need to watch the movie. I wasn't super excited, but like, just to see the comparison. And then like afterwards, I was just like, I just want this to be like laid to rest.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was good.
For what it was. Like we were both saying, it's kind of like a young adult kind of book.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was nice to read it.
Yeah. I'm glad we read it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, we are going to announce our book of the month for January.
Yeah.
Even though it is a couple days into January.
It's okay. We can read it quickly.
Yeah. It's a good read.
It's a quick read. We've all read this book before, maybe.
Deadass, like in high school, maybe. So let's give some clues about this book. Are you ready? So, like, the first main clue would be that, let's see, it takes place in New York, sort of.
Yeah, in the 20s.
In the 20s. The main character in both the movie and the book are hot as fuck.
Yep.
Never seen the one in the book, but I'm assuming he's hot as fuck. Yeah,
just the visual. Rich as fuck.
Rich as fuck. Everyone's rich as fuck.
Yeah.
Takes place in America. Parties. Do you know which one it is? Let's give him some time.
Okay. Stew on it. Think about it.
Have you thought about it yet? No? Okay. Ready?
Yes.
The Great Gatsby.
The Great Gatsby.
The Great Gatsby. The Greatest Gatsby.
By The Greatest Gatsby of Scott Fitzgerald.
That's right. The one and the only.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
We chose this book because it's kind of like New Year, New Me. But no, the book like takes place, it's all about like parties and like very like superficial stuff. So we thought, what better month for that than January?
Yeah.
Aquarius season.
Yeah.
Fuck y'all.
I'm excited for it. I only read it once, and it was in sophomore year of high school, so I'm definitely going to have a new perspective on this one.
It's always nice to, like, do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I've probably read that book 8, 9 times.
Oh, really?
But I haven't read it since college, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yay.
It's my fucking copy is just tattered. But you know what was really sweet is, like, I had to read it. You too in high school for AP. So our AP teacher was really keen on us annotating. Did they ever make you guys do that, like annotating?
No, they never like made us.
Well, that was like our assignment for The Great Gatsby is we had to annotate it. So like I never annotated before. I was like a junior in high school, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, whatever. So I just did it. And it took me, like, I remember taking me, like, I started reading it. I remember vividly picking up that book and just putting it right down. I was like, there are too many big words. I have no idea what's going on. And no, I'm not kidding, Alex. I read the first chapter and I was like, I didn't read any of that. Because one, I wasn't really interested. Two, the words are really...
I don't even remember.
Okay, so I opened up my copy of it. That I've had since high school, and I opened it up, and it was like, I can't remember what word. I'll find it for the podcast, but like, it's like a word that I use in pretty much my everyday like vocabulary now, and it was like underline question mark. What does this mean? And there's like the whole like, and then I stopped annotating halfway through because who fucking does that? And so I have like a bunch of words underlined to like look them up later in the dictionary, and they're all words like I use all the time now.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear what they are.
I was like, wow, like, and they're super. I mean, back in the day, I remember just thinking, I cannot read this. Like, this is a super like wordy, difficult, descriptive book. Yeah, and now it's one of my favorites.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one.
I think
the movie.
Like, it's like nice having teachers like that though, because my teacher like made us do that. Like, she made us read it, even though none of us wanted to read it. And then she kind of like informed us on all the symbolism and stuff. And that's I remember that was the first time I really started thinking about like symbolism. On a serious note, at least from books. And I just remember being shook. I'd be like, it's amazing that someone can say this but mean this.
Yeah. And then Alex can't understand or see any of it. No, I never understood symbolism and things, which is why I'm excited to reread.
Yeah.
See if I can pick up on anything.
Excited for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna read The Great Gatsby, and we will be on time.
Yes.
This month, I swear to God.
Yeah.
I promise.
It will be within the month.
Yes, it will. It will. We're gonna be bootstraps up.
Yep.
Pants down.
Until then.
All right, friends. Thanks for listening.
We'll see ya.
Really, thanks for dealing with our tardiness. Okay.
Our tardiness. We'll be back on track.
We have lives.
Yeah.
Barely.
I have a son.
Yeah. Alex has a son now. I'm not doing anything new in my life. If anything, I have more time than I did before. And I just...
Well, no. Okay.
I had really no love for this book, though, so it was so hard to read it.
Yeah.
It was a good book. I'm not trying to rip on the book, you know?
Yeah.
Because it is a good book. But...
Yeah. I know what you mean.
There's only so much you can say about it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you later this month.
All right. I love you.